Hello and welcome to the fundamentals of JavaScript. In this video series, you and I are going to explore the basics of JavaScript using a web browser. This video is for absolute beginners, people who have never written any line of code in JavaScript. If you have been coding in JavaScript for some time now, and you are looking forward to revising the basics or the fundamentals of JavaScript, this video will serve you right. In this video, I'll show you a few things you need to know to get started, and we will jump right into our web browser to do the real coding. Let's get started. We will begin with what JavaScript is and its role in web development. First of all, JavaScript is a programming language that was initially created for web development. The purpose for creating this interesting programming language was to add dynamism and interactivity to web elements. Gone are the days where visitors visit websites, they just read what is there, and that will be the end of the story. Thanks to the development of JavaScript, clients can now interact with websites and web applications. We can give input and obtain results based on our input. Now, JavaScript is widely used in so many forms of development, and in the next slide, I'm going to show you a few things that can help you to boost your confidence in JavaScript. Alright, so in this slide, I'm going to show you careers associated with learning JavaScript. Like I said, JavaScript is very versatile and it is used in other fields of development. And the first of all is web development. With a combination of your skills in JavaScript with HTML and CSS, you can become a web developer, where you can build websites and web applications. What I mean by web application is applications that can be accessed through browsers. Okay. Now the next thing is that you can become a mobile developer or a mobile software developer, where with frameworks such as React Native or Ionic, you can create a mobile application that can run on both iOS and Android. The next thing is that you can become a game developer. With frameworks such as Phaser or 3JS, JavaScript developers can create games that can be played in the browser. There are other frameworks that can enable developers to create games that can be played outside of the browser. You can also become a desktop developer with Electron.js. Electron.js is very easy to learn, especially when you know HTML and CSS. And with your knowledge in JavaScript, you can become a desktop application. There are so many incredible desktop applications that were created using Electron.js. This tells how powerful JavaScript can be. You can also venture into machine learning or AI with frameworks such as TensorFlow.js or Brain.js. You can enter into artificial intelligence or machine learning. So these are just a few and popular careers associated with the learning of JavaScript. Now in this video, we are going to get started with the basics of JavaScript, and we will begin by getting our resources ready. And like I stated earlier, we are going to use the web browser. You can use any web browser of your choice, but in this video I will recommend Firefox Developer Edition because this browser has smooth support for learning JavaScript. So I highly recommend the download of this incredible browser for the purpose of learning JavaScript. This is the link. I will leave it in the description below. Download it, install it, and then let's get started. Now let's begin with the first and foremost thing to know in programming, which is declaring variables. First of all, variables are used to store data to be referenced in a program. In every program, we need data. and sometimes these data are used several times in the program. And in order to avoid repetition of the data, we store the data to a variable, and the variable is used throughout the code. Is that okay? So variables are the basic things every developer needs to understand in order to write good programs. And in JavaScript, there are 3 keywords that can be used in declaring variables. These keywords are var, let, and const. As time goes on, we will understand the difference between these 3 keywords, and you will know when to use each one of them. So to declare a variable in JavaScript, you use the keyword plus the variable name equal to the variable data or the variable value. So as you can see, we have var variable name equal to variable value. The next one is let variable name equal to variable value, and the last one is const variable name equal to variable value. So that is that. Now there are a few rules to be mindful of in declaring variables, and the first one is that a variable name must begin with a letter, an underscore, or a $sign. What it means is that the name of a variable cannot begin with a number, and it cannot begin with anything other than a letter, being it uppercase or lowercase, an underscore, or a $sign. The next thing is that variable names can contain letters, numbers, underscores, and $signs. You cannot use space, you cannot use comma, you cannot use full stop, you cannot use hyphen, you cannot use colon or semicolon. The name must contain letters, being it uppercase or lowercase, numbers 0 to 9, underscores, and $sign. You can't have space there. Now the next thing is that variables are case sensitive. So what it means is that if you have 2 variables and the names are not spelled using the same cases, the JavaScript program is going to treat them as 2 separate data, okay, 2 separate variables. So you need to take notice of that one. The next thing is that JavaScript has some reserved words that cannot be used as variable names, and among these we have the if, for, function, object, etc. There are so many of them. As time goes on, we will get to know them. Then also, it is always a good practice to choose descriptive and meaningful names, and the reason for this is to enhance code readability. A time will come you will have to abandon your code for some time and revisit it later. If your naming conventions are not following this principle, or they are not meaningful and descriptive, you may find it a bit difficult. So a nice way to explain this to your understanding is this. Suppose you have an array, okay, which is a type of data in JavaScript, and it contains names of cities. Okay, it will be good and descriptive and meaningful to name such data or such variable cities. Or if you have an object that contains data of a person, it is important or descriptive to name such data person or user, or whatever name that is descriptive and meaningful to the data that you are storing. The next thing is that it is always a good idea to use camel casing or underscore to separate words in the name of a variable. Don't forget that you cannot have full stop, you cannot have comma, and you cannot have space in your variable names. So the best thing to do is to use camel casing. I mostly prefer the camel casing, but you can also use underscore to separate the words in a variable name. You cannot use hyphen. Hyphen is not acceptable in variable name, so you take note of that. With that being said, let's take a look at a few data types in JavaScript. Then from there we will move on to the real JavaScript coding. Now we have the string, we also have number, we have boolean, we have object, we also have an array, we also have a function, we have undefined, we have null. So these are the JavaScript data types, and we are going to take a look at each one of them in the subsequent lessons.